Next tonight, the East Midlands' longest-serving Chief Constable has told us that policing needs to change fundamentally because of enormous new threats on the internet.
That's right. Mick Creedon was speaking in a candid and wide-ranging interview about the challenges faced by his Derbyshire force.
He's also criticised supermarkets for failing to tackle shoplifting. And he says it's nonsense that crime figures are being used to judge how the police perform.
This exclusive report from our social affairs correspondent, Jeremy Ball.
Negative, it's just to keep you updated.
The changing face of policing. If you need urgent help here in Derbyshire, they'll check the location of every officer nearby using this brand new GPS mapping system. But technology's transforming the way that crime's being committed too.
These are completely unique pressures.
The Chief Constable told me that's creating enormous challenges.
We are all being attacked on a daily basis by people who would seek to get into our computer systems, to access our accounts. But worse than that, when you start looking at what they call the dark web, we are seeing again a whole range of criminal activity, which is massively, massively worrying. And this can be anything from openly buying drugs, buying guns, looking about how to deal in people trafficking, how to find young children that you want to abuse. There is a whole range of criminal activity hidden in the dark web.
And that means striking a difficult balance, because Mr. Creedon knows many people want to see more police on the beat. But the new threats mean putting officers in teams that are out of sight. Teams like the Central Referral Unit, where this year they've dealt with thousands of reports on everything from domestic violence to child sex abuse.
To go where we need to go is going to be a fundamental shift and challenge. The public may not see as many police officers. The family that feels reassured by the officer walking up and down their road, they'd be less reassured to know their teenage daughter was upstairs in a bedroom, online, talking to a dirty 40-year-old paedophile.
How concerned are you about that?
The grooming of teenagers, young children on the internet takes place all the time. We have some horrendous cases in Derbyshire, as does every single police force.
But it's traditional crimes like shoplifting that are more likely to be reported. That figure's risen sharply this year, and Mr. Creedon says that's tying up police resources.
The stores themselves don't seem to be willing to engage in activity that could actually stop the offending taking place, by way of better security, by way of where they place their goods, etc. There's been no willingness to come forward.
Are you angry that stores aren't doing more to protect themselves?
I'm hugely frustrated that when we sought to engage with them, they haven't come forward. My wife was recently at a major supermarket and she saw someone effectively steal a whole trolley load of goods worth £150. She reported it and there was no interest whatsoever from the security card. They did nothing. If someone steals some chewing gum, that's recorded as a theft. But if a drunk driver is driving down a one-way street in a car that's unroadworthy, uninsured, and they're on the mobile phone and they're speeding, that's not a recordable crime. Which is the greater harm?
But those crime stats are being used to judge the performance of the police, and Mick Creedon wants that to change. He's already warned the figures can be fiddled. Now he says they're skewing police priorities, because what's measured is only the tip of the iceberg.
We look below, and actually sometimes we see the far bigger harms and risks and damage. Drugs dealing, money laundering, which is linked to drugs often, but then the bits about the cybercrime, the exploitation online of children, and bigger areas now, modern slavery, people trafficking. The crime figures are important, but to say they are the only barometer of success or failure for a force is an absolute nonsense.
These new threats come as the Derbyshire force is facing more budget cuts. So does it keep the Chief Constable awake at night? His response to that: I'm too tired.
Well, Jeremy has joined us in the studio now. Jeremy, Derbyshire's police chief is clearly very worried about online child abuse, but it's something also that the Prime Minister's been talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, David Cameron's announced today that he's going to introduce a new law to tackle this sort of thing. That'll make it a crime to solicit sexual images from children. We've also heard that there's going to be more action to track paedophiles who use the dark web, that hidden bit of the internet that Mick Creedon was talking about. And that'll involve using similar techniques to the techniques they use to track suspected terrorists.
And Mr. Creedon's been talking quite a lot about all sorts of things. Why so candidly and now?
Well, I think he's worried that people simply don't understand what the police are up against. So, for instance, he told me about one paedophile who was caught by Derbyshire police. When they checked the phone, they found literally hundreds of mobile numbers of young boys. He's also worried about kids being groomed in chat rooms, on gaming sites, by people they don't really know. And they've even had a blackmail case in Derbyshire where a man posted an explicit photo online and then immediately received a huge demand for cash.
Well, we'll leave it there for now, Jeremy. Thank you.